The theme for the afternoon teachings is a transformed life. We are sitting here in Sarnath, the place where 2,500 years ago the Buddha initiated 45 years of sustained teaching from the age of 35 until the age of 80. And I think there are certain kind of comparisons which we can look at and address with regard to events and social situations of yesteryear and our situation today. And then I'd like to draw from that what it actually means in our own experience, in our own understanding and exploration, and to try to endeavor to communicate to you some of the significance of what a transformed life is all about, or a transforming life. Over the years of coming to India, and I first came here, I was first in this village in 1967. So I have a rather long association with Sarnath. And it was for myself something of a spark for further exploration and insight. And two of the things which struck me significantly, having picked up a small little booklet, which I actually still have at home, which I got in the temple there, probably on the same table that was used in 1967. And there were two references in there, two aspects of the teachings which made a deep impression, both of which you and I will all be all too familiar with. One is of everything changing and making use of that as a day-to-day practice for myself in letting go. If everything is changing in countless number of ways because of intentions coming out of myself or because of circumstances around or the combination of both, then clearly the second point, nothing and meaning nothing whatsoever is worth holding on and clinging to because it makes life difficult. And this simple core but effective teaching about life had, and I hope upon you as well, significant impact to the degree that in my life it was a kind of constant day-to-day theme for reflection, for noticing, for observation, for working with, and a tremendous support. One began to treat holding on to things with the same way as treating holding on to a hot coal. One just knows it burns if one holds, it clings. And the outflow of that was some 3 years later taking ordination in Thailand. So being back in Sarnath these recent years at this time of the year and teaching in a Thai monastery in Sarnath has a certain déjà vu about it, which I appreciate. Just going back for a moment or two to 2,500 years ago, there were two influential figures in the spiritual life, or influential group. One were the Brahmins, and still very, very influential in this country. And the Brahmins were the priests, and the priests were the guardians of ritual ceremony going right back through to the times of the Vedas, the very earliest texts of India. And from the Vedas came the Vedanta, end of the Vedas, fulfillment of the Vedas. And out of that extraordinary tradition, still alive and well in India, came the yogis. And if one takes a small but rather important point here, one of the classic texts of the yoga tradition, the Patanjali Sutta, which a number of you will know, there are several hundred verses in the Patanjali Sutra, but you can count on one hand the number that refer to posture. So one was the influence of the priests in society with ritual, ceremony, the famous fire ritual, astrology, sacrifice, offerings, all of this permeated the society. And with it came the view of caste, and with it came the view of privilege by birth, called Brahmins. The other were the yogis, and the yogis were the solitary ones, the loners, the ones who lived in the cave, in the jungle, the ones who wandered from one place, from the high up in the Himalayas there, right down into the great plains of India. And there were various ashrams as well, which were formed, somewhat isolated from the mainstream of society, in rural environments, with the guru, with the Swamiji, with the teacher. And this one sees from the old text, from the Buddhist texts, as well as the text of the Vedanta. This was the common mode in which spirituality took its manifestation, and all the gods and the goddesses and the beliefs that went with it. The Buddha, both then and I think in the body of the teachings today, made a very radical departure from these two forms and endeavored to shift social life and society and the individual consciousness to transform it in a completely different way. And it's a challenge for all of us to kind of look and see what that means, what the relevance of that is for us. One of the features of that is if we just take the step to the contemporary world that we live in, there are very predominant values which condition, shape, and give formation to our life, which we have a very strong tendency to identify with. And three of the values, if you look at what you think about, if you look at what you project about, if you look at your feelings and thoughts and imagination, to notice how much and how frequently in some of the priorities that we have, how much we have internalized through what we have been told matters. And this is a key feature in what transformation means. And three of the areas of what we have been told matters is the pursuit of security through ownership, a strong indoctrination as a society. It's gone on for centuries, of course. Security through ownership is one. The second, the maximization of pleasure, and therefore seeing what one or we can do to secure as much pleasure for ourselves through eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and touch. Two, as a major priority in life, and developing a sense of self-worth through what we do. Through what we do. And this pursuit of security, maximizing of pleasure, and pursuit of self-worth through what we do become the modus operandi of the human being. And if you and I are honest with ourselves and we look at ourselves, we will see and notice the sheer frequency of the inner life's attention to one of these three. And of course, a link up